1:15 p.m. This is a Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. A discussion between the IMF representatives and the Prime Minister will be held this evening. It has been emphasized that it is the responsibility of the public representatives to take policy decisions to solve the problems of the country. The Minister of Transport implements a program to promote push bicycles. Another 35 persons attempting to illegally migrate from the island have been taken into custody by the Navy. Court orders to release Welgamer from the bribery case. Sports cricket, the final match between Australia and Sri Lanka gets underway in Colombo today. In foreign news, the US Senate passes the first gun control bill in decades. News in detail. Another round of talks with the IMF officials will be held this evening under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The International Monetary Fund team, who visited Sri Lanka recently, is expected to discuss on providing assistance to Sri Lanka. The team held its first round of talks with the Prime Minister yesterday. The final discussion with them are scheduled to be held on Wednesday. The chairman of the UNP Vajra Abeyewardena says that it is the responsibility of all representatives in Parliament to take correct policy decisions to solve the existing problems in the country. He also said that a new constitution that confirms a democracy and suited for the people in the country should be brought. Participating in the Subarathi program of the SLBC this morning, he said that the implementation of a national policy which will not be changed is needed on whatever the government that prevails. The Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is acting with dedication to build the country which was collapsed. The Minister of Transport has implemented a program to promote push bicycles as a solution to the current fuel crisis in the country. The ministry is also expected to promote the use of push bicycles for school children in out of Colombo and the people who arrived at the railway stations from their homes to reach Colombo. Measures will also be taken to introduce new lanes for the safety of the cyclists. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that this program will be conducted with the support of the police, the Engineering Institute and other institutes relating to the cycles. The minister said that the objective of this move is to minimize the people who arrive in vehicles to the cities. Park and drive centres will also be set up in this regard. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Sri Lanka Navy apprehended a local multi-day fishing trawler with 35 individuals suspected to be on an illegal migration attempt to Australia via sea during a search operation carried out in the western areas of the island yesterday. In the search operation mounted in seas off Panadura last evening, the Navy intercepted a suspicious local multi-day fishing trawler carrying 35 persons who were suspected to be attempting to illegally migrate from the island to Australia. Among the apprehended individuals were 25 males, including 5 persons involved in this racket, 4 females and 6 children. Along with the suspects, the fishing vessel used for this illegal act was also held by the Navy. Further inspections revealed that the multi-day trawler had a mechanical failure in its engine and the vessel was unsuitable for long voyages. The Colombo Fort Magistrates Court yesterday ordered the release of former Minister Kumar Welgamer from the bribery case filed against him. The case was taken up before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Nandana Amarasinghe today. The Bribery Commission had lodged the case accusing the former minister of allegedly incurring losses to the government by creating an unapproved vice chairperson position at the Sri Lanka Transport Board SLTB, appointing one of his associates to the said position, making a salary payment to the tune of 3 million rupees. The fifth and final ODI match between the visiting Australian team and the Sri Lanka team will be held at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. Sri Lanka has already gained victorious of the ODI tournament by winning 3-1. It's after 30 years that the Sri Lanka team won a one-day series playing against Australia in the motherland. Today they will enter the ground with the hope of winning the fourth match. If the Sri Lankans win this match, it will be the first time in history of winning 4 matches continuously. The Australian team will also play their best to keep their respect. The cricket fans, both local and foreign, are very enthusiastic to watch the match today. The match will begin at 2:30 p.m. today. The sports channel of the SLBC is ready to bring live broadcast on the match. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In the main news story, the government has paid attention to implement a systematic program to direct school children for sports. The objective of this move is to direct the talented children in villages for sports activities by using sports funds provided to them divisional secretariat divisions. The program is being initiated by the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs with the support of the Sports Development Department, Mahaweli Authority and the National Youth Services Council. Creating strong sports clubs on rural level is another objective. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight, the Government Medical Officers Association GMOA Media Committee member Dr. Prasad Kolambage said that with the current economic crisis situation in the country, acute nutritional programs and a situation of malnutrition among children have arisen. Addressing the media, he said, according to the survey reports received, getting food and the supply of food is getting increasingly difficult. He said if the issue of nutrition is not resolved properly, the future generation will suffer from malnutrition. Therefore, the GMOA requests the Health Ministry to look at the said issue in a responsible manner. And that was Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news in the headlines. The US Senate passes first gun control bill in decades. Aid group struggling to help Afghan quake survivors. North Korean leader says the country should strengthen its defense capabilities. World news in detail. The US Senate has passed a gun control bill, the most significant firearms legislation in nearly 30 years. 15 Republicans joined Democrats in the upper chamber of Congress to approve the measure by 65 votes to 33. It follows mass shootings last month at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, and a primary school in Uvalde, Texas, that left a combined 31 people dead. The bill will next have to clear the House of Representatives before President Biden can sign it into law. This could happen within days. Although significant, the proposals fall far short of what many Democrats and activists have called for. Humanitarian agencies are struggling to get help to areas devastated by Wednesday's earthquake in Afghanistan. At least 1,000 people were killed and survivors living in remote villages are running out of essential supplies. The 5.9 magnitude quake struck in the early morning hours, collapsing homes while many residents were asleep. Officials in the provinces of Khost and Paktika estimates that more than 1,600 people were injured. Peter Kessler is the Senior Communications Officer for Afghanistan with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. He told NHK that aid agencies are facing a difficult operation. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un says the country should strengthen its defense capabilities so that it will be able to overwhelm hostile forces. North Korean media reported on Friday that the enlarged meeting of the Central Military Commission, chaired by Kim, was held from Tuesday to yesterday. It reported that the commission decided to add an important military action plan to the operational duties of frontline units. It also said the commission approved a plan to further strengthen the country's war deterrent. But the media did not provide any details about the nuclear and missile development programs that North Korea has been advancing. Back to the headlines of the world news. The US Senate passes first gun control bill in decades. Aid groups struggling to help Afghan quake survivors. North Korean leader says the country should strengthen its defense capabilities. And that was a look at world news. Moving on to development news. New 2 cinnamon varieties have been introduced. It has been named as Sri Gamunu and Sri Vijaya. These 2 varieties, which were introduced by the National Cinnamon Research and Training Institute, are popular among the people and the farmers. A successful harvest has been reaped after a 2-year period of cultivation. And that was development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
In sports news, Sri Lanka Football Federation says that the selection of players under 20 years of age for the national pool has commenced. If there are talented players in school sports clubs and leagues, the Federation has requested them to direct them. Those who wish to participate should report to the National Training Centre in Baddegama on next Monday and Tuesday. The selection of players will be conducted targeting the forthcoming South Asian and Asian matches. And that was sports news. Coming up next is business news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Luminex Institute has their trading activities at the Colombo stock market. The chairman of the institute, Dr. Harsha N. De Silva, said that the telephone network infrastructure facilities in the engineering field have been developed immensely during the past 35-year period. The company has recorded an income of 3.1 billion rupees last year. The company has 29 operational centers in the island.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
And in economic news, treasury bills valued at 150 billion rupees will be issued. The treasury bonds will be issued under 3 categories on the 28th of this month. The central bank says that the interest rate of its between 17 and 18%. It will mature by the 1st of June 2025, 15th of January 2028 and the 15th of May 2031. These bonds can be purchased from the primary dealers and the licensed commercial banks. And that was a look at economic news. Moving on to the weather report, the Met Department says that showery condition over the southwestern part of the island, western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Matra districts is expected to enhance slightly from today. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Matra districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters may occur at some places in the Sabaragamu province and in Kandy and Nuwara districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and Batiklo district during the afternoon or night. And that was the weather report. And to conclude this news broadcast, let's take a look at the headlines again. A discussion between the IMF representatives and the Prime Minister will be held this evening. It has been emphasized that it is the responsibility of the public representatives to take policy decisions to solve the problems of the country. The Minister of Transport implements a program to promote push bicycles. Another 35 persons attempting to illegally migrate from the island have been taken into custody by the Navy. Court orders to release Velgamma from the bribery case. Sports cricket, the final match between Australia and Sri Lanka gets underway in Colombo today. Foreign news, the US Senate passes first gun control bill in decades. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. It's 29 minutes past 1 o'clock. And till 1:30, let's enjoy some lunchtime music right here on the station of the nation, Radio Sri Lanka.